I'm Alexis. This is 22 Sides Podcast, and I'm here with Robin and
Amanda Edwards.
And a special guest.
With Amanda Edwards.
So what we're going to do is talk about who knows what today.
Okay.
And with our podcast, we don't worry about city sounds or anything like that because it's a conversation. It's not like we have, you notice there's no script. We have no questions, nothing. We're just going to talk a little bit. So what you been doing recently, Amanda?
You know, it's been quite a whirlwind. So as you know, Alexis, I've been in this 18th Congressional District race and running for the special election for Congress. It's the seat that was once held by Congresswoman Jackson Lee. And then, of course, she passed. And then her successor, Congressman Sylvester Turner, just passed in March. And so now, finally, the governor has called a special election. It will be held on November 4th, 2025. So we're about 80-ish days out from that date. So we have been doing a whole lot of campaigning. But as we've been doing that, we've also been dealing with the redistricting.
You're right. I'm going to bring that up in a minute.
Yeah.
So who had the seat before Sheila?
So the history on the seat is that it was once held by Barbara Jordan.
I think that's amazing.
Then it was held by Mickey Leland, then Craig Washington, and then Sheila Jackson Lee, Sylvester Turner. Yeah. And so in the past year, 2 of our congressional members passed away. So this district has actually been without having a representative. When you count the time from Congresswoman Jackson Lee getting sick and passing, and Congressman Turner passing, and then delayed special election, and then the fact that we're also going to have a runoff because there are like 30 candidates, literally.
We're up to 30 now.
Running in the, I mean, it just keeps growing.
On 20.
Yeah. So it's a whole bunch of candidates.
I lost track when it reached like 18.
Yeah.
And I mean that seriously because I look like, I just presume that everybody's running for 18.
I'm just waiting on Guinness Book of World Records to call us up and tell us that they're going to get their certificate. We're getting our certification for this race. So yeah, just a whole lot of folks going to make us push it to a runoff. So if you count up all that time, this district, 18th Congressional District, will have been without representation for 18 months.
That's very long. That's really long.
Unbelievable.
Especially with all the stuff that's happening in Congress.
Yes, especially with what's happening in Congress. The big, beautiful bill that got passed initially by one vote.
And had there been someone in the seat.
Come on.
I mean, that wouldn't have
we don't
happened.
know how they would have voted, but we can guess.
Well, I know how I would have voted. Okay, so there we have it.
Yeah.
I would have voted to block the big, beautiful bill that has all these devastating effects on our community. And so we've got real things at stake in terms of what's happening in Congress. And then to make matters worse, literally, there's an adage that goes like this. If you're not at the table, you're what's on the menu. And in this instance, literally, because we don't have our voting member in place, they have put the 18th Congressional District on the chopping block when it comes to the redistricting process. So that is why I've been so busy going up and down to testify, because there is no one in the seat who can testify on the district's behalf.
And that sort of means the way they're doing it with redistricting, and for people that are listening someplace else, this is Texas. That means the politics are weird anyway. But what that really means is you don't know who you have to run for, shall we say, or who you have to campaign to.
Well, yes and no. So right now, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because it is super confusing. The current race that we're in for the special election that will be held on November 4th of 2025, those boundaries will not change. It doesn't matter when the maps pass. They will not be impacted by the newly redrawn, redistricted maps.
Good to know.
They will stay intact with the original maps. That will apply both to the special election and to the special election runoff, which will likely, get this, take place in January of 2026.
Wow.
Right.
So it's just going to confuse everyone. Because they're going to say, okay, well, now the new maps apply? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not until the March 2026 primary do the new maps apply.
And that presumes it doesn't go to court.
Oh, and that's exactly right. And so back to the other part. So when we do start talking about maps,
Texas,
what is normally the case is when you have a map, it's redistricting, and particularly one like this that's so controversial, you have lawsuits. So we anticipate there being lawsuits that get initiated. And sometimes when you have lawsuits, maps are required to be redrawn. You just don't know where the litigation will take you. We have, I think, that is.
You're a lawyer, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
So you understand lawyers.
Yes.
Oh, we're getting a smile from our silent.
She's quiet. She likes to take it in.
Yeah, I know, but that's okay. We'll get her talking soon.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a really confusing time for most people. First of all, they don't know about when the maps are going to apply. Second, they might not even know that the special election is happening this year because most people only heard the news that it wasn't called.
Right.
And when they finally did call, it was like a whisper. So very few people really actually appreciated that there was going to be a special election this year.
The only place that I saw it, other than just knowing a lot of people that are in politics, was on the Secretary of State's website.
There you have it.
And
See,
it
how many people are checking the Secretary of State's website?
And it wasn't in bold letters. So
right. So there you have
just
it.
one of the things that happens like all the other things.
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, it's really challenging right now. There's a real lack of information. So thank you for allowing us to have this conversation because, again, you got to meet people where they are in terms of where they get their information and share that information.
And, the other thing is if something comes out of this, by the way, that's good, we're happy to share it with you and you can use it or whatever.
Thank you.
So, basically, I guess it was the last real redistricting when it was supposed to be, with the census changes and everything, that there were a bunch of activist groups that wanted to learn about redistricting because they knew nothing about it. Okay. And John Rosenthal was asked to do it. So I get a call from John saying, I don't know anything about redistricting. Can you do that? So we started doing some seminars for him. And it was really funny because nobody understood how long it is and how complicated it is. And the fact that when it's done, it's never done. Because you have then the court cases.
Yeah.
And each court case could restart the whole darn thing.
Well, just to give you some understanding of the court cases, there was a lawsuit filed back with the 2021 redistricting.
That's the one we're talking about.
That's still not resolved.
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
And the worst part is, what if the court decides to go a weird direction?
Yeah.
They're going to have to do something with all the elections that happen.
Yeah. It's a tangled mess. And the fact that we are now embarking upon, think about this, mid-decade redistricting. If we have to start redistricting every time we have a congressional race because the other side wants to get ahead or wants to suppress Black and brown voters in this case, or, there are a lot of reasons that people want to redistrict. And many of them can be true at the same time. Well, this is going to open up Pandora's box. We can't sustain this. In each state, this war will be going on in each state about what lines are going to be. I mean, you're constantly changing the goalposts.
Illinois just announced that they're going to redistrict.
There we have it.
And they think they can probably get rid of, I think they were saying 7 to 11 Republican seats.
This is what happens when you put someone like Donald Trump in the presidency.
Yeah.
It's bad leadership. This came from the president. Yep. Our governor got, contacted by President Trump to do this.
And he'll do anything Trump says.
That's correct. And he did, and he is. But this is coming from Trump. And so now, of course, states are responding in kind, as you highlighted, Illinois and, of course, California. And it's going to be a mess. Yeah,
and Illinois is pretty simple. I mean, they can just decide to do it. California has to do some law changes, but they're working on them.
Right.
But
go ahead.
I was going to say, just because of the fact that I think we need more civics taught in high schools, et cetera, I'm just going to mention the fact that you're running for what?
For the 18th Congressional District. Okay. So what is Congress?
There we go.
So I got asked this question actually yesterday, and I highlighted 4 main things that you do as a member of Congress. 1, you address constituent calls that come into your office, people who have concerns regarding their veterans benefits, for example, or immigration issues or issues pertaining to passports.
The fact that their passport was stolen at the passport center like mine was recently.
Oh my gosh. What? So tell the story.
I sent in my passport and everything, and I'm part of the lawsuit against Donald Trump, and the court said, yep, you can go ahead and get your name and gender changed. So sent in my passport and all like that, and so then I get a letter back saying, well, you didn't submit your passport. I'm like, oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
And, and so they're like, well, you just have to start over.
Oh, that's terrible.
But now, fortunately, after some phone calls and everything, it's like maybe I have to start over, but there's some forms, and we'll see how it goes because my next call is to Lizzie.
Okay.
Who,
There you see. Those
who's
are the
my
calls.
congressperson.
There you go. Those are the calls.
And and then it'll be to the other congress people I know.
Yep.
So that'll be Sylvia, Al Green, and if we can get you elected.
Yeah, if I can get in there eventually.
And it could go that long. So.
Yes, it could. So hopefully they'll get it resolved before my election is resolved
Right.
for your sake. But in any event, you've got that constituent response. So that's a great example of that. And then you have the opportunity to make policy. You can be a bill author, you can sign on to bills that exist, and you vote on those bills as well. So you vote and you make policy. Then you have the opportunity to do something that doesn't get widely discussed, but is a really central piece of the job, which is to bring home resources to your district. Whether that's infrastructure investment, we're in hurricane season right now, so making sure that residents are
Sheila
safe.
did that a lot.
Yes, she was very good at bringing home resources to the district. That's a key part of the job that a lot of people don't know about and don't discuss.
And Congressional District 18 is used to people doing that a lot because everyone that's been there before you has been really good at that.
Yes, exactly. So that is a key core part that in these 18 months with no representation, that goes
Has not
away.
been happening.
Your
Yeah.
staff cannot secure resources for your district. They might be able to answer a phone call about a passport, but they cannot address things like voting, speaking on the floor,
Right.
being an advocate in that way, or, bringing home funding. So that's just off the table when you don't have your voting member. And the last part I would say is using that platform as an advocate and using it, from a bully pulpit's perspective. So you have the convening authority, a whole press conferences. You can bring people together in ways that allow you to amplify an issue, the, way things need to change and ought to be, and really call out what needs to be happening. So you have that bully pulpit too. So it's a really great opportunity to engage the public and then also serve them by making sure they have the resources they need, but then policy changes that are necessary as well.
Okay, cool. And just, one of the things that I'm just going to mention is this is federal government.
That's correct.
Now, we have state, local, county, city. We have so many governments, it's unbelievable. And,
and you pay taxes to all of them.
Every one of them. And for some strange reason, all of them get paid way more than I do. But, the big thing about it is if you have a problem, please try to figure out who's responsible for those things. Because, honestly, calling someone in Congress about something that's with the city.
Like garbage removal.
Yeah, that one. They may pick up the phone and call the mayor, but, it's better to go the other way.
Yeah, so you have, your local government is there to address things that really affect your day-to-day, like garbage pickup, police issues.
And you were on city council,
I was
right?
on city council, so
Okay.
I know what the locals do. So you are, garbage, you're dealing with crime, you're dealing with issues concerning potholes, all kinds of, drainage concerns. Those are all city-based issues.
And everybody in the city does have a city council person.
No, they don't just have a city council.
I was going to say, there you go.
They have 6 because you have the one district council member that represents you, and you have 5 that are elected at large that represent all of the residents citywide. That was actually what I was, an at large city council.
And a hint is the district city council people have more money to spend than the others.
So yes, so they have something called district council. I don't know what it's called now, but when I was on council, I think it was called district council service funds or something like that.
Right.
That's an allocation to them. At that time, it was close to like $1 million in each district. I'm not sure what it is right now.
I have no clue.
Something like that. So you can always apply to those offices for funds. Your at-large city council members do not have that money. So I would just look at them and say, I don't have district council service funds. But these are the people who do. These 11 individuals have them. So they're able to kind of offset some costs of projects that are needed.
And with city council, it seems like there's a lot more friendships back and forth than some other groups.
Yeah, well, you work a lot together in city council. I think sometimes with other government, like the ledge, for example,
Right.
the state ledge, you're only there like once every other year, so you form type bonds when you
Unless
see
Greg
each
Abbott's
other.
the
Well, now
governor,
that's
in
not
which
the
case
case.
it's
Now it's every
constantly.
every other week. You're gonna
Exactly.
be in the ledge because he's gonna keep calling these special sessions. But normally it was supposed to be every other year. Now we always have these special sessions, and it's just
Right, and the standard
joke.
joke about Texas is that it was actually a typo. It wasn't supposed to be 144 days every 2 years. It was supposed to be 2 days every 144 years.
Well, I know people are feeling that way now. So with this redistricting, I mean, that process started. Let me just walk you through how fast this has been. On July 21st, that's the first day that special session ensued. So we went down there, and it was just, again, this very weird kind of environment. People were just like, what's going to happen? And it was, you can see a lot of anxiety, on people's people's faces. And then on that Thursday, we went back. There was a first hearing, and everybody was tuned in, dialed into this process, and they didn't have a map for you to testify on. And so we were just talking. And then on the Saturday, they came to Houston, no map. So we were talking, and then we were talking, and then they went to Arlington again, no map. And finally, on that Wednesday, they released a map, and then boom, the hearing took place on that Friday morning. It was so quick, and so I mean, I barely had the opportunity to see the maps before we were in Austin, and so as a result, you had a lot of people who could not just go to Austin quickly like that. You had a lot of people who did not have the time to analyze the maps properly, and so it was just a really bad process. And they were going to try to pass it. It came out of the committee on Saturday. They were going to try to pass it by the entire House of Representatives by Tuesday. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And the thing that bothers me is that by putting that first,
oh yes,
they ignored things like a few floods up, in Central Texas, and all the people that died. And I'm sort of like, don't we have more important things to do than play Washington politics?
Well, we're
apparently
in
not.
The beginning of August, and their situation is going to unroll how it unrolls. We might see a few more special sessions at this point. And I just want you to have an opportunity to say what's going to set you apart from the other 20, 30 people running, because this is not your first time running. You are not new to this. You're true to this. You have experience beyond this seat, and I'd love to see you in the seat that you've been wanting to be in, you know. So, but for the people who are new to you or maybe recently aware of you, what's going to set you apart? What's going to get you past that primary?
Yeah, so great question. So we have this general election taking place on November 4th, 2025, and then it'll be a runoff afterwards. And right now, we have found out recently that I am actually ahead of the pack.
Nice.
I'm ahead of in the polls by 6 points.
Nice.
And
there's some of us that knew that all along.
Correct. And the real reason has been my experience in this community. So I have not just come up for the first time and learning the neighborhoods and trying to get to know residents for the first time. I have been working tirelessly for years trying to create an opportunity for every single person in this community to be able to thrive. So whether we're going to talk about what that means when I've helped to rebuild housing, or if that's an example of what I've done for small business owners in terms of trying to reduce the barriers they face when they're trying to access capital, or if we're talking about what I did with regard to tech and innovation with helping to spearhead and lead the efforts that then resulted in the Innovation District getting created in our city. I can go down a very, very long list. As the young people say, I have receipts and, long list of things that we have completed and that we are doing for our residents that make a transformative difference. When Harvey happened 8 years ago, and we're actually getting close to the anniversary, when we found out how many residents, especially our seniors that were low income, were not getting the help they needed, they were cleaning up their houses, but they could not get the sheetrock removed from their homes, we started mobilizing hundreds of people. We just started going door to door. We went to hundreds of homes, making sure we were connecting the dots, because sometimes it's not going to be done for you. You have to create it. And that's something that people have watched me do over the years. If I don't have something already ready-made, it doesn't stop me. We're going to create it. And we're going to make a model where people can get the help that they need. And so I think for me, in this race, I stand out as a person that not only has a bold vision for our future, doesn't just have innovative ideas and solutions, but also has the skills and the experience to get it done. It does none of us any good just to hear somebody give you a rousing campaign speech. You need folks that can give you a speech that's accompanied by the action and the change that people are looking for and they deserve. And with me, they know they get that. And they know, too, that I put the people over the politics. That's the other piece, I think, that really distinguishes me from the folks in the field. I'm not an establishment candidate. We are proud to say I'm the people's candidate, and that our poll results reveal that. The grassroots are with us.
And it sounds like you're no stranger to going to the people, because I think that's very important, especially in that district. It's like when you feel like your vote doesn't matter, when you feel like no one's coming, when you feel like you've been left behind. I mean, Sheila was everywhere. I mean, you have to fly out of the state for that seat, and yet she was here for any press release, any public announcement, any whatever. I mean, it's a very athletic seat, if you will.
I've never heard anyone put it that way, but that's true. You're right. You got to be nimble.
You hear about all these politicians who just can't get it done, just can't make it, can't show up, flees our state during, disasters. Okay, that's their nickname now. But I mean, like, Sheila was well into her 70s and still making it.
That's right.
You have a lot of longevity, and you're going to the people. I wonder how you're making sure that the people are going to be there for you.
Yeah.
Because that's the crucial where the rubber meets the road, I think, when you're getting the votes that you need, right? Like, I mean, in my district, for certain seats, like 16 votes makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want people to know that, like, your vote matters, especially in this race when there's, 20, 30 people.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And that is our challenge at hand, is making sure people know this in this confusing election cycle, when the election is, how to vote, when to vote, and all of those dimensions, like it was, like in a normal environment. It's not normal. They're not getting the social cues that they normally get, like when there's a bunch of stuff on the ballot. It's just us and some school board races, propositions, those sorts of things, but it's not the, prime time, where all of these state reps and others are running at the same time as us because it's a special election.
It's even a little bit worse than that, because there's just you, and the school board races are somewhat questionable as to whether they're really on the school board or not.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
So, basically go out and vote, because your vote does count.
Yeah, it is going to be every vote that counts. And they're banking on it being low voter turnout. So really, whoever shows up gets to decide. And
that's a beautiful thing to know. Whoever shows up gets to decide. And I think that could be the truth for a lot of the seats, because we focus on, who's voting, but there's a lot of people who just don't vote. And that number keeps getting bigger and bigger. But if you show up to vote, you're the ones that kind of gets to call the shots.
That's right.
So
you're in charge.
Yeah.
And that's the piece that, I try to empower residents to understand something that I think we've lost touch of, and this. The people who are in charge are not the people with the name placards. They're not the people with the titles. These seats belong to the people. And it is up to you to decide when it's time for change. It is up for you to decide who you want in these positions. Don't ever let anybody come to you and tell you who you're going to vote for and who is the right way. You make that decision. Who's showing up for you? Who's bringing the change that you want to see? That should be the person that you support. It's a reflection on you. My name is going to be on this ballot, but I tell people every day that they and their family, their community, their future, that's actually what's on the ballot. I'm the one that's going to connect the dots to those things, but you're on the ballot. And so you vote for who represents you and the future you want to see.
And it's like what Alexis was saying to me yesterday. This particular seat takes time to connect dots. You can't just be coming and going. Like, you have to stay to make those connections. It takes time to make policy.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that's the piece of this. It's relationship based and it's people centered. And that's what we've always been. When I became a city council member, we ended up winning with more votes than anybody running for office at the time, not because of me as an individual, but really because I made it about the community. And I was a reflection of what they wanted to see in the solutions that I had to offer, and the things I was listening to them say. They were so surprised when I see it on my website. And they'd say, we just talked about that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I was listening.
I'm slightly consistent.
I actually listened.
Yeah.
They're not used to that,
No,
right?
no.
Like we are used to
Yeah.
this being a gimmick
Uh-huh.
and some kind of shim-sham of it, where we exploit people, and then we say one thing and we make promises that we don't keep. We gotta break that cycle, because I think that's what's causing a lot of people to stay at home.
Exactly.
So I have a question, and
Yes.
then I've got a question for the other person here. I'm just making, you're going to say we're done time. I see that.
Stephanie's our timekeeper,
Stephanie's
convenient
like, phone
timekeeper.
comes up. So the question for you is,
Sure.
so let's say you win, as I hope you do, and I mean, I'm pretty open about the fact that I support you.
Thank you.
You going to stay there for a long time?
You know, it's an interesting question that I get quite a bit in light of all that has happened. I actually will stay there long enough to really be effective with some long-term systems change issues like infrastructure investment and how it doesn't work for our community, fixing that, disaster recovery and how it doesn't work at all. So overhauling that, healthcare access. We've stopped expanding and we've started, reducing the amount of healthcare access. So addressing that. But I don't think that that means healthcare, economic opportunity, education. But I don't think that it means an indefinite stay, right? I actually would be a supporter of term limits. I do think that there should be.
You're going to get some votes with that one.
Well, I know that that's how people feel, and I feel it too, right? Like, I don't think that there should be generations of voices that get silenced because we don't have a means of being able to separate from these positions. They're wonderful opportunities to serve, and so we're grateful for the leaders that do serve us, but sometimes term limits are needed because we can't otherwise allow that succession to take place when it should. And I do think that succession is healthy. I think that we are going to need that. Now, what's the magic number? I don't have it off the top of my head right now, but I do think that there should be term limits. I don't think it should be short. I don't think,
The House, they need to be pretty long.
yeah, I think, what between 15, 20 years, that's a wrap. I think that's good. But,
That makes sense.
anything shorter, less than 10 years, you're not going to be able to, be as effective as you could be. So I think, with term limits in place, we can find them and do some study on this, right? Like, we need to not make it an arbitrary number, like really look at effectiveness and what you could get done in those time frames. But I'm open to doing that.
Yeah, because I was going to say, in the House, it requires a little bit of seniority before you can get a lot done.
Correct. Absolutely. Seniority is a huge piece of it. And by no means am I suggesting that, I would be someone who's not building seniority. But I do think the framework needs to be changed overall so that it does allow for there to be succession, because otherwise, naturally on its own, it's not happening.
That's true.
Yep. Okay, Stephanie. What do you? I'm getting a look from across the table.
You're gonna get all kind of looks from Stephanie. Stephanie.
So what do you tell people when they ask you if they should vote for Amanda? Oh, they don't ever ask you?
I usually do this.
Button the lip and hold the heart.
She holds her heart.
I don't really ever talk.
You don't.
No.
Well, can you tell people where to connect with you and Amanda, since there isn't really anyone in the seat and they probably do want to connect to people who are going and testifying? You're usually the contact point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I can
if
get
people
that
wanted to
information.
find Amanda or you, this is a good time to put the information in the podcast.
Perfect. Okay, so I am Stephanie, and you can reach me at Stephanie at Edwards4 Houston.com. And she also has all of her social media that is available. And I think it is Amanda K. Edwards TX. And she's on all social platforms, Instagram, Twitter. I heard something.
Oh, Twitter is AK Edwards TX.
Oh, AK Edwards TX. And then I heard
Blue
of Blue Sky.
It's AK Edwards TX.
AK Edwards. So she's doing all the things.
We'll make sure to list that in the show notes. And, there is a lot of call to connect with your congressperson, connect with people. But people are like, well, wait a minute. What if the congressperson literally started this mayhem? Or what if there is nobody? So what do we do? So thank you. I know you're really filling a position already without even being in the position. And I'm sure that the people are appreciative and don't even know how to thank you,
Well, we thank them because they have they've still been active, they've still been engaged, and they've not had representation, which is not right. It's not fair. It's not right. no taxation without representation is something that apparently is not applicable in the 18th. And so I just think that's wrong. And so I have done my very best to try to do as much as I can, even though I am a candidate rather than the congressional member at this time, to really step in where there is a gap. And I think that it's wrong of the state legislature to try to pass this when there's an empty seat. I think it's wrong for us to have this prolonged delay. I think all of it is wrong because it harms our residents. And at the end of the day, that's what this is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about some kind of political game. It's really supposed to be about getting the resources and support and the opportunities that our community members need and that they deserve. They don't deserve to be treated any differently because they happen to live within these boundaries of this district. They deserve to have representation too. So I'm going to do my best until that actually comes to fruition through the election process to try to stand in the gap and be their voice when they've now become voiceless.
Well, I hope your district meets your example to stay in the race, to be the voice, even when they predict for them to be unaccounted for and to not show up. They're throwing the unnormal things, and it's not a regular thing, and it's really personally impacting people. And I hope that you and Stephanie stay well during this time, and you can always come back and update us throughout the way because we still have a way to go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is great.
That's a wrap.